following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
How the fuck are you, everyone? And welcome to the WZWA Network. And welcome to our review show here of Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. How are you, bro?
Oh, man, I am fucking fab. All right, let's fucking get into it. Death Before Dishonor 2022. Before we actually get to any of the matches, Carl, big thing I want to ask about is, man.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 words to describe this show. If you had to put it into a few words, what's your main takeaway at the outset here?
3 words.
Yeah.
Death Before Dishonor.
Oh, man, I like it. I like it.
No,
Yeah.
you tell me your 3 words, bro.
Man, I don't know, man. It's difficult to encapsulate it now that you already put it so perfectly. But, you know, it's just hard to sort of think of it. Oh, wait a sec. Death Before fucking Dishonor.
That's 4 words, you little fuck.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's 4 fingers for you, cunt. Let's get into the show. I didn't watch the pre-show.
I did.
That.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, because there was a bit of time.
That's right, everyone.
There was a bit of time for me.
For everyone else in the world who doesn't give a shit about the pre-show, just there's timestamps down there below.
So I did watch the pre-show because you were playing some b-ball this afternoon.
Yeah, and jerking off too.
That's always a good thing. So I will get through the pre-show very fucking quickly. Colt Cabana, of course, is the first person to come out. I guess he's going to be the Ring of Honor opening pre-show match guy to get that pop. Takes on Anthony Henry with JD Drake at ringside. I believe this is Anthony Henry's first outing in Ring of Honor. Colt still awesome. Hopefully they do something decent with him, although I don't expect that to happen. And it actually wasn't a bad match.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
All right.
The Shinobi Shadow Squad, Eli Izom and Cheeseburger. This is the first time I've finally seen Cheeseburger perform.
I actually love Cheeseburger. Just throwing that out there. I didn't watch the pre-show, but I'm a big Cheeseburger fan.
Right. They wrestled the Trustbusters, Ari Davari and Slim J.
The Trustbusters.
Slim J has been like a veteran on the indie circuit for like fucking 20 plus years now. So getting a chance there. They were solid, and Slim J was the standout here as the Trustbusters got the win. Moving forward, we've got only 2 more matches on the fucking 0-hour pre-show. Alex Zayne, Blake Christian, and Tony Deppen take on what was supposed to be Tully Blanchard Enterprises. But apparently, Prince Nana announced he has purchased Tully Blanchard Enterprises and reformed the embassy with Brian Cage, Gresham, and the Gates of Agony. So,
you know what? I actually do have a quick comment to
that's confusing
if that's the case. It's confusing. It's disrespectful to Jonathan Gresham that Tony Khan's immediate idea is to like put him into that little group. And it's also disrespectful that he's decided, obviously, he doesn't feel like using Tully anymore. So he's now taken Tully's group away from him. So I don't like that. Go fuck yourself, TK. All right, sorry, continue.
That's okay. But they just started this thing at the last fucking Supercard of Honor. They just started this thing. Tully Blanchard Enterprises. Why? Like, okay, maybe you want to give Prince Nana a spot.
No,
anyone else?
He didn't need Tully's group. He could have easily managed anyone else, and people would have been cool with it because they haven't seen him in a while. Like, because this is the rebooted ROH as well.
It's confusing. Just confusing. It's like Tony had an idea of something that he was going to do, and then change his mind. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't make any fucking sense. And it doesn't matter that it's just like, oh, he just bought it. So let me get this straight. Tully formed his own little enterprise, and the first time someone comes up and fucking offers him money for it, he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll just sell it to you, and then I just won't manage." That's just moronic.
Yeah. So even though he's just formed this group and presumably has formed it in order to earn income over a long period of time, so whatever Prince Nana paid him must have been far more than whatever Tully projected the next half decade of income from this stable to be. And if you think we're overanalyzing it too much because it's just wrestling, well, that's what I would fucking say to all of you people that complain about the WWE or any other product. So fuck yourselves.
Yep, exactly. Anyway, just wanted to get that out of the system. I expected this to be a squash, but of course it wasn't. They all went for it, you know. I don't know. Alex Zayne, is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Alex Zayne, yeah. Okay, Alex Zayne, he fucked up a Hurricane Rana, and it was annoying that he fucked it up because the spot in the first place was unnecessary. Typical dive spots to the outside. This is awesome chance, whatever. Finally, Brian Cage kills Tony Deppen and gets the pin. It went too long, but whatever. These fans want every single match to be them all going and taking each other to their absolute limit. Final match on 0 Hour. Allysin Kaye takes on Willow Nightingale. Willow's theme song is fantastic. Sometimes she is solid. Sometimes I feel she needs a little work. She was clumsy in this one. She fucked up a cannonball. She messed up a few other things that didn't look so flush. But nonetheless, gut-wrench powerbomb for the finish looked quite good. So very, very, very good ending to the fucking pre-show. Okay, let's get on with the actual fucking show.
Yes.
Death Before Dishonor.
DBD, bitch.
Jooseyboy. Let me know what you thought of the opening contest for the pay-per-view, which was the World Championship between Jonathan Gresham defending against Claudio Castagnoli.
All right, couple little things right off the bat. First, I thought it was weird that they opened with the ROH World title match, even in light of them wanting to main event with the tag title match. Like, that's fine to main event with that match, but I still thought it was a little weird opening with the world title match, but that's my personal feeling on it. Commentary on this show, Ian Riccaboni, Caprice Coleman. This goes throughout the whole show, so I'll just mention it once at the beginning here. Fabulous on the commentary. You had the experienced play-by-play in Mr. Riccaboni. You had the ex-ball player, so to speak, in Caprice Coleman, that has been in there, worked with a lot of these guys, been around. I thought he was top-notch. William Regal was on the announcer's booth for this opening world title match. I thought he did an absolutely fucking tremendous job. Rick Knox did not referee a single match on this show. Breath of fresh air. The referees all actually took the rules seriously. No Excalibur yelling at 1,000,000 miles an hour in our ear constantly. Just good, solid commentary, treating this like it was a fucking sport. This is something else I want to say right at the beginning here so I don't forget about it as we move on. Not only is this ROH product presented in this show immediately better than anything we've seen in AEW in like basically AEW's entire existence, but this product that we saw here on this show is what AEW should have been from the outset. And when people wonder why AEW gets so much shit thrown at it, it's because this is what people were expecting when AEW was announced, not the clown show that it typically actually turns out to be. Onto the match itself, there's not much to say about it. It was a fucking amazing match. I really enjoyed it. Loved Claudio's gut wrench to the inside of the ring. I thought that the holds and some of the counters and transitions we saw in this match were some of the most smooth and tremendous looking transitions I've seen. I really enjoyed the actual mat wrestling in this match. This was everything I wanted it to be when I saw these two were going to be facing each other. Weird that it opened the show, but nonetheless, this match was an A- for me. It set the tone for this event. Incredible match. I really liked it, and I thought it was a great way to start things off with a nice big moment for Claudio there. Even though part of me wishes that they'd had Jonathan Gresham retain just so that he could get his moment in this new ROH as champion, because he's carried the title during all this time when ROH has been a non-entity. So I felt like maybe having him go over here and having Claudio win it at the next time. But I also see why they had Claudio win the belt here, so I'm not complaining.
Fair enough, man. He did get a huge reception, Claudio. This was like as they were leading into this matchup, I felt that the build for this match was really poor. So Gresham turned heel on Lee Moriarty, and then he had a match against him and he beat him.
Yeah.
And then afterward, he cut a promo saying he was the best professional wrestler in the world. Claudio interrupts, thus setting up this match. That's the build. And I thought to myself, that's fucking lazy. And I felt like, geez, Claudio had never won a world championship. He'd never won the Ring of Honor World Championship. I would have thought that a story as meaningful as something like this would be given a bit more appropriate build, a bit more of an angle going into it than something thrown together at the last minute. I feel like that's what we got here. So I also echo your sentiments with thinking that, Gresham fucking worked his whole off to finally become Ring of Honor World Champion through the whole gap.
He's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah, the whole process, that gap, he's held it, defended it all over the country. And I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the title change this soon. Because when it happened, I was like, shit, like fucking anyway, I did not like seeing that fat guy in the crowd with the Tony Khan era sign. Fuck you, dude. No.
Yeah, like let me just quickly address that. It's not the Tony Khan era, and it never will be for most of us. Like, keep living in your fantasy world and fucking slowly killing yourself by overeating. That's fine, but it's not the Tony Khan era.
Another thing, the fans are going for both wrestlers, and I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about that a bit more later.
Yeah.
Prince Nana comes out without a tight shot of him coming down the aisle. That's a problem that I have.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of wandered out, and I watched the pre-show afterward. So it's possible that a lot of people didn't see the pre-show, right? I have no idea what he's doing out there.
I didn't even notice he was out there until the match was underway. And then I was like, oh shit, Prince Nana is actually out there representing one of these guys. So
yeah. So I was like, when he came, because I know he came down the aisle after the match had started. So that's where they needed to make that tight shot to give the commentators an opportunity to reinstate that, yes, he's now reformed the embassy, and yes, Jonathan Gresham's in the embassy. Explain it, get him over, give him the chance for people out there who are tasting Ring of Honor for the first time to learn a little bit about this guy and what the fucking point is of him coming out. Anyway, new champion. I saw it coming a mile away. I just thought there's no way that having Claudio cop a loss yet, because I just know the way that they work. There's no way that they would do that. Following that was I don't think there were many interviews backstage, but Daniel Garcia got an interview, which was okay. Okay, next matchup. One that I was incredibly uninterested in. Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team titles. Dalton Castle and the Boys taking on The Righteous, which features Vincent from Honor No More in Impact Wrestling. I've made it pretty clear over the last few months that I'm not into multi-man matches, 6-man tags, 8-man tags, because I've just been burned out on them from the 40 times that we saw the Elite take on the Dark Order. So I didn't like things like Dalton Castle throwing the dudes over the top rope over and over and over for dives onto members of the Righteous. It's a perfect example of what embarrasses me about wrestling. If I was trying to show a friend how cool wrestling was, and like they saw this, I would assume that they would be like, "That's fucking stupid." So
yeah,
but the crowd popped for it. They popped for contrived, fake-looking bullshit.
Dalton Castle kind of has a bit of he's one of those characters though that people make an exception for, because a lot of his stuff is about the act, the character. So it's a little different. I find it less annoying than when the Bucks or say like, people like that do it, because it's a bit more of I feel like Dalton Castle is a throwback to those like flamboyant gimmicks of the 80s for me personally. But yeah.
I can't remember the name of the chick that was at ringside. She did a moonsault springboard to the outside, which was sick. And so, so was the big boy going over the top. I like that, but I also wrote, if we see more of those types of things in this match, I'll lose my shit. Thankfully, we didn't. Yeah. I thought it was over after the death from above from Vincent. I thought Dalton breaking the pin up by fucking charging in and shoving the ref into the pin was pretty funny. But I also said that was bullshit. And then I don't know why, I got really pissed off that there was a second title change in a row. I was like, don't tell me it's going to be like Supercard of Honor where every match is a title change again. But I wanted the heels to come over.
Yeah.
So, bro, yes, you've been muttering all the way through.
Yeah, sorry.
I
don't really have anything else to add to it, frankly.
You don't?
Pretty much, you said most of it. The only thing that I would say is that, this match had no heat for me, and I didn't find myself getting overly invested in it. However, kudos to all the people involved. I thought they gave it their best shot. C+ for this little 6-man here.
Yeah, I just don't think I'm ever going to get into a 6-man tag team title. And if AEW end up bringing in their own 6-man tag titles when Ring of Honor already have some.
Yeah. You know what though, bro? Just quickly, somebody brought up a good point on a podcast I heard recently. If AEW does bring in the 6-man belts though, you can just stick them on the Bucks and Omega and let them have their little 6-man match every show and leave the real wrestling to everybody else. And we just know which match is going to include all the bullshit that way. But I do get what you're saying though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like if they end up doing it, every time
they'll overdo it.
Yeah.
They'll overdo it to death.
But I just imagine like when we do AEW pay-per-view reviews, we probably would just skip that match altogether.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to protest it because I fucking hate it that much. Like we don't need any more. It's enough. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. There's some stuff going on backstage here. I don't know if you saw this, bro. Sanjay Dutt with Lethal and Satnam Singh.
Yep.
You've seen, Ring of Honor. You've watched Ring of Honor. Did they ever shoot promos like this backstage in Ring of Honor? Or are we getting AEW with different letters here?
No, they did do some kind of vignette type things. Like as you saw in this one, they didn't do anything that was far-fetched or out of the realm of reality. So it's not unheard of to see like segments and storyline play out in Ring of Honor, but it's always been done under the guise of this actually being a legit sport. And I think that this little promo still stayed within the guidelines of that. However, there are a few elements of AEW with different letters spackled throughout here because there's a few tiny things they obviously couldn't help themselves with. But overall, I feel like this show felt more like an ROH show than an AEW show, thankfully.
Yeah, I just hope they keep it kind of different in that way. I don't want it to be like, please.
Another thing that I wrote though is that Tony may have actually killed AEW with this product because it's better than what AEW is putting out. Like it was far less painful in terms of length, in terms of flow, the actual stuff that the wrestlers did in the ring. It was like a focus was made on making it a sports-based looking show, and it blows AEW out of the water, quite frankly. It was no comparison in terms of just this being a Smash Mouth show, but I just wanted to add that in there, that I felt really refreshed that we're talking about a promo that happened backstage, but it wasn't full of fucking nonsense that was made for like a children's TV show, you know? It still felt like it belonged in the context of what we were watching.
Yep. Coming up next, the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Wheeler Yuta, the champion, taking on Daniel Garcia. Fire away, bro. What did you think of this one here?
Well, I'm a person that, like, I was one of those huge in high school. I went through my indie wrestling nerd phase where I wasn't into anything WWE was doing. And I was like, the guys on the indies are like blowing WWE away, and they actually have gimmicks and they're not afraid to, you know, like I went through that real phase. So I've seen my fair share of ROH Pure World title matches. And the biggest thing that goes into making a Pure World title match captivating is the enforcement of those rules, the limit of the 3 rope breaks per person and the time limit on it. I thought that Mr. Yuta and Mr. Garcia went out there and had themselves a very good Pure World title match. I'm going to give the match itself a B+. I thought it was really well done. However, this is also the kind of match that I feel like both of these guys are kind of on a lower mid-cardish kind of level to me. And I really feel like a perfect ROH Pure World title match needs a Nigel McGuinness or a Samoa Joe versus somebody else for the title. I feel like that veteran presence that I really like in these pure style ROH matches that I remember with Samoa Joe and CM Punk and Christopher Daniels, that element of it was missing, but nonetheless, it was a serviceable match in its own right. I'm curious to see what you thought about it, though, because some people find that the pure matches really drag. You know, they find them a little bit slow. So
right, yeah. I've seen prior to this, I've seen 2 pure title matches, which I believe with Josh Woods in the match for Final Battle and Supercard of Honor. And I enjoyed those matches. I really did. They had Josh Woods as one of the judges, and I was surprised that they didn't do anything.
I liked that though, because that sets the precedent that, you know, this went smoothly. You know, this is how it's supposed to go. The judges aren't going to be getting involved unless they need to. That's also in keeping with that tradition. I
just felt like they brought him in for this. I just thought something might happen. I'm not saying he should have interfered, because that wouldn't be under the right guidelines of this style of match. But I just think even if it was afterward, like he challenged the winner or something like that. I know that there's not much to that either. And if I saw that, I probably would have been like, oh, he could have done something else better than that. But I don't know.
They might be trying to kind of like actually be a little bit smart about it and sort of set the precedent that, you know, former pure champions are going to sit at ringside to be judges. They didn't have him get involved this time so that it will have more impact last time. Next time when they actually do have the judge get involved. Because if you remember back to that famous Terry Funk, Ric Flair feud in the NWA, where Terry Funk was the judge of Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat 2 out of 3 falls at Chi-Town Rumble 1989. And after the match, Terry Funk, who was one of those judges in a tuxedo, turned on Ric Flair, turned heel, pile drove him through the table. Boom, you got a hell of an angle on. I feel like but the thing was, the only flaw in that amazing angle was that they'd never done judges' decisions in NWA title matches before that. So it was like the one time that they do it, they make an angle out of it. So, I think that if I wanted to give Tony Khan that credit, I could say that was the idea behind not using the judges, but I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, let's see if I can get through my notes in this match without another sidebar from Jooseyboy.
Sorry, I'll stop sidebarring. I'll stop it.
It's okay.
Johnny's sidebar.
Very good stuff. Fans were chanting for both wrestlers. Garcia is the heel. I don't know what it is with these fans, bro. I don't understand them. I never will. I don't understand the idea of going for both of them. You know,
they're just there to see both guys put on a great show.
It's just annoying. Like, God, you got to hate one of them and like the other. Like, I'm not in every single match. I know this is a sports-related kind of, or a sports-style presentation, Ring of Honor. Very good. But Garcia's being a heel, and he's talking about sports entertainment being better, and you're still going for him. Some people out there still going for him. Like, shit. There was a fuck him up, Yuta, fuck him up. I just don't believe Willow Yuta as a badass. I never will.
He's not that guy.
No.
If Wheeler Yuta was going to be booked on WrestleMania 20, he wouldn't be in the triple threat with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. He wouldn't be in the WWE title match with Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. He'd be in the Cruiserweight Invitational. That's where Wheeler Yuta would be. You can get pissed off if you want, but that's the kind of wrestler he is. He's a smaller guy, like Garcia too. That they're just not the kind of people that I think are going to be thought of in the same vein as like a Regal or a Dave Taylor or a Finlay. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, another little sidebar there, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. I totally agree.
Yeah, I don't believe the badassery just because like you can book him in a match with Moxley and he bleeds and he kicks out a heap of times. It still doesn't make me believe that he's going to be up here one day. I wasn't sure if we needed the timer at the bottom, but that's okay. I thought the slap fight was stupid. Although you can't use a closed fist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, they're supposed to use forearms and shit, I think.
I have a feeling, you know, when like they grab one of the guy's arms and they do the fucking elbow to the guy's head over and over again. Danielson does it, Moxley does it. Both of them did it in this match. Several people have done this spot recently. Yeah. I feel like that fucking elbow thing. I think Kingston does it as well. That's going to be the next thing that gets overused after the Tope Suicida.
It's already being overused.
It's too much. Like everyone out there, let whoever does it, just let them do it, and you come up with your own thing. We don't need 25 guys doing the same fucking move, which is why the super kick's been killed. The DDT's been killed for a long time, but everyone's doing a fucking little fucking suicide dive through the ropes, and half the time it looks shit anyway.
Not everyone is supposed to do everything.
No.
If you see another wrestler out there that does something and you think it's the coolest thing you've ever seen, I'm sorry, but you should have thought of it first, cunt. That's the kind of game we're in here. Triple H could do a diamond cutter just as well as Diamond Dallas Page. But, you know, DDP made that call and said, dude, I've worked hard to get this move over. This is my move. You know, can you please maybe choose something else? And he did. Because it's called intellectual property when you invent a move. And after a while, it goes into the public domain. But like no one else was using a fucking DDT when Jake Roberts was still active. Yet people have been using super kicks left and right, despite the fact that that's always been a finishing move.
Bro, they use the super kick now like it's a punch. That's where we're at now. We get it. This is wrestling chant. It was a good finish. I will say that. I just was feeling like, man, I need some heat. That's 3 happy endings in a row. And, you know, again, Garcia gives he flips him off to end the segment. It appears that Zoom have become fucking cheap ass motherfuckers and want us to pay for fucking having 2 people in a meeting when before it was for 3 or more people. We got a 40-minute limit on each fucking recording. I don't think so, cunt. Let's move forward, bro. Roosh. I thought it was Rush, but it's Roosh. Takes on his brother, Dragon Lee, in a match that I'm supposed to care about.
This did nothing for me.
Yeah, I wrote, I'll get through my notes quick. It feels like every match is the same. And I understand this is Ring of Honor. Cool. Okay, fine. But to me, I was just like, God, every match is kind of the same start, the same kind of build. Anyway, there was a good dive from Rush, but it might have been more impressive if the big dude didn't already do one already earlier in the show. They need TV for this product already, so there's not so many cold matches. So I think it would have been better if there was some sort of build, a bit of a package for this match that made me care a little bit more about it. That suicide dive that Dragon Lee did on Roosh on the table was fucking dangerous, man. Like, he looked like he fucking just speared his head into the table. There was a "This is awesome" chant soon after that, and I said, can you all get a fucking grip? The crowd had barely reacted at all till they got their little fucking stimulus of the dives to the outside. Some of these fans, bro, I don't think they really understand what wrestling is, and they should understand it when they saw the main event of this show. Again, the chop battles all the time. Then we got some nice stuff. Belly to belly off the ring apron. That was nice. But then Dragon Lee fucked up that inside out Hurricane Runner. These are the lengths that they have to go to for their match to be seen as good in front of these types of fans. I applaud them, but fuck, man. Unbelievable the amount of shit that these guys put their bodies through just to try and get, a good match in the eyes of the fans. Another chop battle took place. Caprice made a very interesting comment. These guys, they want to go out there, just want to have a good match. It's like, no, they should want to go out there because they want to win, bro.
Because the person who wins the most matches makes more money. It's a bigger purse when you win the match compared to when you lose. And winning matches pushes you up in the rankings, makes you closer to getting a title shot. Champions make the most money out of everyone in the business. That's both the kayfabe and legitimate reason for doing this, not so that you can go out there and just tear the house down or whatever.
Yeah. Bruce wins by giving the horns or whatever it was that it's called. Serviceable, but didn't blow my socks off. Bro, what did you think?
D-. Basically did nothing for me. I felt nothing watching it. I was like, these guys are I was like, I felt bad. I felt bad that I felt so empty. Like, it was like I was a psychopath just watching this match. Like, honestly, it's nothing against either guy, but I really felt like this was our dose of AEW on this event. And I mean that in the negative sense, obviously. This was our dose of bullshit.
Foregone conclusion
and bullshit. And to be honest, I didn't even know they were brothers until someone mentioned it towards the end of the match. So the whole idea was lost on me. I don't know if most people, I'm sure I'll get some flack online for this, but I'm pretty sure 99% of people checking this out haven't been following this feud going into this show. So
I don't even know if there was a. Anyway,
it's almost, it's like a vacuum. It's like there's negative heat on this match. That's really, it meant nothing. All right, let's move on.
Got 3 matches to go here, bro.
I'm laughing at at how savage my feelings. All right, let's go.
Ring of Honor World Women's Championship. Mercedes Martinez taking on Serena Deeb. Take it away, bro. What did you think of the ladies here?
Oh my God, this almost stole the show for me. This was 2 of the best performers in this industry, male or female, fucking going out there and having a fucking kick-ass match, working on body parts, trying to get those submissions locked in, going back to it. If they don't succeed locking something in the first time, they're still trying to go for it later on because they've still damaged the leg or the arm or whatever it is. I thought that it was just a fucking tremendous display of professional wrestling. And, probably my 3rd favorite singles match after Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal and Cesaro versus Jonathan Gresham. But you know what? That is some stiff competition. Pretty much on any other show, this match could have been my match of the night. Kudos to them. It's another A- rating for me. Big shout outs to Serena Deeb. I feel like throughout her whole career, she's been overlooked and underappreciated. Like, she is, to me, like the Bret Hart of women's wrestling. Because to me, she can just do it all, whatever she gets asked to do. I remember in WWE, she was quite good with the storyline, the acting part of it as well. She just gets it. And she took a hell of a bump from that super German suplex. I don't know if that was a botch or not, but wow. Yeah, so short and sweet there with my notes, but short and sweet in a good way.
Yes. At some point, Deeb needs to get her moment. I'm hoping that happens in the next couple years. She needs to win something of note. I know she's a former NWA World Women's Champion, but in these two companies that she's kind of wrestling in both, I suppose, she needs to win the big one at some point. She can't keep coming up short like she has a few times recently. I found the build up to this match to also be lazy. They can do the best that they fucking possibly can with those pre-match promos with them both saying words here or there. Or, Serena turned on Mercedes in this tag match leading to this match up here, but I'm not sure if there was much pretense to the turn as well. So I just feel, again, lazy build to the match. It wasn't a bad match. It was a good match. They worked well together. I thought that German off the top rope was cool, but fucking so dangerous. There was a moment where she locked in the Serenity lock, which almost got me. I thought she might get away with the win there, but Mercedes wins. So yes, this was a great match, and it certainly was, a step up from how I'd been feeling after watching the previous match that I couldn't have given two shits about. Okay.
Nothing against that. No hate to those guys.
No,
I don't want to come out like we're giving shit. It's the booking part of it, not the athleticism. Anyway.
Because let me say this, bro. Okay, we got the television championship match coming up next. Samoa Joe, the champion, defending against Jay Lethal. And I wrote, I care about the build up to this because I saw what happened at Supercard of Honor. Yeah. I've seen little bits here and there from some videos on YouTube about this feud building up. And I wrote, see, when something has heat and has a heel, there's a difference in the energy of the crowd. Everyone was on their feet now, whereas the last few matches, they were sitting down for most of even just the beginning of the match. Yeah. They were sitting down, whereas this, they were up. They were up. Like, what's fucking going to happen here? There was a fight to fucking broke down at the beginning here. Heat. Let's not forget about heat. It doesn't always have to be about these two guys are going to have a great wrestling match, and at the end they're going to shake hands, and we're all friends, and it's all about having great matches. It shouldn't just be about that. There's so many other things you can do in wrestling that make it more meaningful when you get to a great match, because this was a great match, and it also had hate to it. Again, I want to iterate that as much as I can and reiterate that as much as I can. Yeah. I did like the fact that the match didn't actually start for a while because they were on the outside of the ring, which meant the big man, Satnam Singh, could come out. One thing I did laugh at, though, was when he got ejected from the match, he took his jacket off and threw it down and walked off. And I was like, why would you throw your jacket down and walk off?
It's going to get dirty. It's
like, you know how much trouble he would, you know how much trouble he would have gone through for a man his size to get a jacket like custom made,
like tailored. He's got to get the thing dry cleaned and shit every time he wears it.
And he's just thrown it on the ground and walked off. Like, I get the effect, bro. You popped me with it, though. You just left it there. Fantastic. Joe's suicide dive actually was sick and looked like it actually had good impact. I'm sick of the suicide dive or the tope suicida, where they jump through the ropes and all they do is like fucking either hug them or like just push them into the fucking guardrail. It's like, fuck, man. Don't do it unless you're fucking really gonna fucking nail him with that shit. Like when a Bret Hart would do it.
Fucking Christopher Reeves over here, horizontally pushing. Like,
I saw Joe kicking out of the lethal injection coming a mile away. But they done a good job creating that suspense. That's what got the fans into it. The suspense was great, and I loved all the transitions toward the end. And eventually, finally, Joe managed to fucking sink in that Kakina clutch or whatever it's called. A good win for Joe, and I wrote match of the show so far. Your turn, Juicy Boy. What did you think of Joe and fucking Jay Lethal?
Yeah, I thought the match was fucking sick. I really felt like this had the big fight feel. To me, this match felt the most like one of those old school ROH shows from the Hammerstein or someplace like that. This to me had that energy and that main event feel to it. I thought that, Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal look like real fucking men. They've got size to them. It looked like they're actually having a fight. Everything that was done in the match made sense. Everything looked physical. It looked as though they were invested in actually trying to win the match, and they didn't like each other both at the same time. Going further to what Carl was just mentioning there, it doesn't even have to be either or. You can have guys that are both great competitors and they can't help but have a great match, who also hate each other's guts. That's what we saw here. Satnam Singh, he's got an impressive look. I wouldn't be surprised at all if WWE eventually comes knocking on his door. He kind of is like a gigantic, he's like a fusion between Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali and one of those pinhead people from American Horror Story, like all in one. Like he has this very unique kind of facial structure and a unique nose, and just the guy is someone that you would notice when you look around, but he's also jacked and he looks good in a suit. And so there's this weird thing where, in a way, I feel like he's a future attraction in the vein of a Great Khali, but I also feel like he could also be a big time powerhouse, muscle bound henchman. I don't know. I'm getting a vibe from him that I just want to see more of him, even if I can't really kind of articulate it properly because of the whole package there. But so I loved his involvement. I also really enjoyed the whole jacket throwing down thing. The match itself, once it started, I felt like it kicked into another gear. By the end of it, I was fucking, because Samoa Joe just has a way of just, like, you almost feed off of his anger as an audience member. Like, the more pain he doles out to his opponent, the more you fucking want him to dole out the pain to his opponent. Like, so, yeah, loved it. I'm going to give this a fucking B+. And I thought it was a tremendous match. Tough for any match to follow, but we'll get to the main event in just a moment. So
I believe that you said that this is better than the ladies' match. You gave this a B+, but the ladies' match an A-. Very interesting.
Well, you know what? I think maybe I'm having to swap my opinion. I think maybe that I'm thinking about it. I think maybe I did prefer the ladies' match over this one.
Isn't that interesting? I caught you out,
didn't I?
Great match. Fuck, I caught you out.
Great match. It was. Yeah. Well, you did, because you have no life, so you have time to pay attention to things like that.
No, all right, that's rude. That's just straight up rude. Okay, time for the main event of the evening. I saw that there was 53 minutes left in the show, and I'm like, oh, here we fucking go. They're gonna give this so much fucking time. I didn't mind though, because it was FTR and it was the Briscoes, and it's 2 out of 3 falls. I thought this would be interesting. I even cracked open a beer for it. Juicy Boy, I'm going to let you take it away for the main event here for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships.
Well, first of all, I think that, as far as this match being now number 2 in the Briscoes FTR feud, that's the thing. That's how you know this match is over, because this isn't just the Briscoes versus FTR for the ROH tag team titles. This is the Briscoes versus FTR 2. And so naturally, the natural point of comparison for this match will be to compare it directly to the first one. If you put a gun to my head and you ask me which one do I prefer out of the 2, I've now seen both matches once each. I'd have to say I preferred the first one. However, after future viewings and with some time to kind of process it and think about it, it is going to really be up in the air long term which of these matches is better. Maybe they're both going to be equal. I thought that this was a fucking tremendous match, but because of the 2 out of 3 falls nature of it, it was approached differently from the previous Briscoes FTR match. There was a little bit more caution to the wind in this match, because a lot of the feeling out process and a lot of the kind of getting to know my opponent stage that was sort of taken care of during the first match. So there was a little bit more urgency in what they were doing. Like, we've faced each other before. We're kind of familiar with what to expect. We took each other to the limit the last time. How are we going to approach it this time? Maybe we just need to fucking kick some ass, you know, instead of trying to chess match it, because obviously it was almost a stalemate in the previous match, you know? So what I really liked the most about this was that I saw a wider story unfold that was kind of connected together by smaller bits of story within the match. You know, a move that injured this body part earlier on in the match might not come back into play until much later on in this contest. And by that time, you've already forgotten about it, but then something happens and you're like, oh shit, you know, he's been working on that leg earlier on. So this definitely, to me, once again, it had the credibility of feeling like a real fight. It felt like a main event. They didn't fucking do anything stupid. They didn't have the Bucks interfere like they did at the end of the last one. Quite frankly, you know, if in a perfect world, Briscoes versus FTR #1 would have taken place on this show, not the final show of that up in the air ROH before Tony Khan bought it. That's wishful thinking. You can't go, hindsight's 2020. But like, to me, you know, if you take the involvement of the Young Bucks at the end of the previous match out of it, and then you put that previous match on this card, you may have like a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10 card. I'm sorry. But as it was, you know, I think still a tremendous main event that I would also give an A-. I think that these two teams are two of the best in the world. I think that at this point, we can say that it's not really possible for them not to have a tremendous match against each other. I'd love to see a rematch again down the line between these two teams. I know I went on for a bit there, but it's a big match.
Yeah, no worries, bro. My thoughts. FTR's theme song is cute. I just think it's cute.
Everyone likes it.
The crowd is split again, but this time I understand it because neither are heels. It's just a battle to see who's the better team right here for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Slow build, just like last time. Dax Harwood gets tagged in at some point, and it starts to get to that next gear. The Doomsday Device for the first fall to the Briscoes, very nice. Interesting when you would think, like, if this wasn't a 2 out of 3 falls match, they might have just become the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. So I really liked the story of Dax really needing to get a fucking tag, and Cash just kept on getting fucking knocked off that apron. That was great. Gory Special was great with, and I love the way that Jay Briscoe was desperately trying to break the pin, like scratching and clawing whilst he's being held by Dax on the outside. I thought that was great suspense.
Great.
But Mark kicked out. Now after that, now it's breaking down into a fight. I'd love that ring bell spot. That got me. I thought maybe they might fucking they might have pulled off the win there to go 2-0, but Harwood also luring Mark Briscoe into a flapjack onto the stairs. Another nice little spot. There comes the big rig. That was now nailed well. Great finish for the second fall. Here comes the fight forever chant. No, we don't want that.
Again, it doesn't need to go. It's already going for 45 minutes.
It's enough. It's
like, it's plenty. You know?
We don't need to see them fucking lose control of their bowels. And
would it be more appropriate to just say, fight a little bit more? Like, fight a little bit more. You know?
I've always hated the fight forever chant, and it's so typical that the AEW video game's going to be called Fight Forever.
Fight a little bit more, but not too long. Like, I mean, my gosh. I just wish that it went, it could have gone on for a million minutes.
I just want like every match to go 90 minutes.
Just don't want the opening match even.
Dude, the back suplex off the top rope to the outside through the table. Fuck, man.
Beautifully done.
Insane. And then the finish. I couldn't believe when he was doing it. I was like, nah, he's reversing this. He's reversing it. No, pile driver off the second rope. Fuck, man.
Fuck, man. Beautifully bumped. Perfectly, just a perfectly executed pile driver, top rope or not. Fucking amazing, man. That is why remember when we watched the first Briscoes FTR match?
Yeah.
And I was like really excited because you hadn't seen much of them and stuff like that. This is now that you've seen a few matches, do you see what I was talking about these guys, you know, and why I was so excited for you to see them?
They're my favorite current tag team in pro wrestling right now.
They're amazing, eh?
I still prefer the previous match. I still prefer the previous one. But this was still pretty good. Like that first one's gonna be fucking hard to top, and they're gonna have to put in a lot of fucking hard yards if there's going to be. I would hope that there will be a third, fourth, and maybe fifth match in future, because the Briscoes have got to get a fucking win at some point. They've copped 2 losses to the Good Brothers on Impact Wrestling. Straight up, no win back on them. They got to fucking pick up a fucking victory at some point here, man.
Because to put it in perspective, take this for what it's worth, people out there at home. But on a recent episode of his podcast, Jim Cornette stated in passing, as if it was just casual information, like when he was discussing FTR versus the Briscoes, he referred to the match that they had as possibly the greatest tag team match of all time, or like one of the greatest tag team matches of all time. So that is the caliber of match that the first contest between these two is seen, the light that it's seen in. So don't think that we're taken away by saying that we prefer number one. It's almost like Michaels versus Undertaker at Mania 25 and 26. It's 1 and 1A. You know, it's just so difficult because they're so good. But anyway, that's my final sidebar. I've been Johnny Sidebar. You know,
never fucking ends, bro. One thing, we've got a little bit of time left, thankfully, because you know, Zoom's you know, cunt like that. But this is my main concern watching this, and you made a really good point earlier about this is probably what AEW should have been like in the first place. This is kind of what they promised. It was a sports oriented style of wrestling. That's what they want. And now when I look at AEW, I'm like, you're way off course there now. Like much fucking hokey shit goes on over there now. They're way off course of what they were going on about when they first announced this fucking company. I feel like
it's now that you have this ROH show here, and it's only the first event they've done. But now that you have it as a reference point to like what we saw on the last AEW pay-per-view, you hopefully now more fans will start seeing just how lacking and how farcical a lot of the AEW product actually is, except for the top guys in that organization, because this immediately is superior. I'm already excited to watch the next ROH event. Couldn't give less of a shit about Barbed Wire Massacre or whatever the fuck they just did with Jericho and all that shit. Who cares? Who fucking cares?
I heard it was a mess, but the point I guess I wanted to make was that, like, this is Tony booked this as well. So like, I hate what he does in AEW. I didn't mind this. I felt like a lot of angles could have been, there could have been more to it. But I feel like what's going on with him right now is now he's overwhelmed. He doesn't want help from anyone. He wants to do it all himself because he thinks he can. And this goes to show that it's, if anyone can book a card of great matches, because you put all these people against one another up and down that card, you know that there's no way that this is going to be a bad show, because everyone on this card, that when you put those matches together, yes, there's no way that they're not going to be good or great matches, but it's going to get to a point where a good or great match infiltrated show, it's not going to be enough eventually. Well, so the only concern I have is that there are no angles coming out of this that makes me look forward to what's going to happen next, because everything seemed to, when it all came to, when it was all said and done for each of these matches, I felt like that was the end of the issue or the end of the situation for the people that were against one another. So I just would have liked to have had some sort of angle. I don't know. I mean, look, yeah, they can have Claudio and fucking Willow Yuta kind of come up on the stage and stare down FTR at the end of the show all they want. That's not hate because they're baby faces as well. Like
I'm also not excited for that combination of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Because it's just going to be a fucking match, bro. It's just going to be a match and then it'll be done and then they'll move on to the next thing.
Like the next team that FTR should face, if it's going to be the combo, the fucking Blackpool Combat Club, I'm sorry, it should be like Cesaro and Bryan Danielson against FTR. Now that's a match. But you know, I do think that we need to give credit where credit is due. We do give Tony a lot of shit for the booking on AEW, even though I agree with you that, you know, it's impossible not to have some great matches when you're booking these talents. I think that at least in this instance, Tony Khan was smart enough to recognize that it was going to be a great card, no matter what he, like, without even touching it, it was going to be a great card in its own right because of the caliber of talent. So I give him credit for kind of recognizing that and keeping his fingers out of it. We didn't get any Young Bucks. We didn't get any fucking contrived bullshit. There was no Marco Stunt. Orange Cassidy didn't have a match. You know, like I want to give some credit there because we trash him so much. I want to credit him for actually putting on a show that was what it was advertised to be and that didn't make me want to fucking just turn off the TV and walk away. So yeah, because you know the last AEW pay-per-view, I think I nearly had a fucking the worst thing about it was, bro, it's like I don't want to go off on another thing, but the pay-per-view before that was tremendous. So it's like they're so up and down sometimes with their fucking, it pisses me off. Anyway, this is ROH Death Before Dishonor though, and I think it was a great show, man, like personally.
Yeah, so we've come to the end of it, bro, but yeah, that was just one point I wanted to make, that like you can keep doing this for a while, Tony, but at some point, it can't just be this. You're going to need to come up with some angles where people can really sink their teeth into it if you want this to grow, because, you know, it has potential with how great this show was, but it's eventually it's not going to be enough. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point. It was a good show. I will give him credit for that. Jooseyboy, your rating for this show out of fucking 10.
Yeah, I'd have to give this show probably a, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8. Like, I think this was a really good show. I think everyone top to bottom performed excellently. And, you know, wow, amazing what happens when you actually make the focus of a wrestling show realism and competition. You know, how effective that can, who would have thought? It's not like every wrestling fan for the past 3 years has been saying that week in and week out to Tony Khan, but whatever, at least he's starting to learn now.
Yeah, very good, bro. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed the show. The middle part kind of made me a little bit sleepy, but I would say those last fucking 3 matches on the show really did it for me. And of course, the opening match was very good as well. So I'll give it 7 out of 10. Thank you, Jooseyboy, for joining me for this fucking review.
Yeah, no fucking worries. And thank all of you for joining us out there. This has been our review, the most comprehensive, unbiased review. Unbiased, ridiculous. Everyone's biased, you know. Get your own channel if you don't agree with what we're saying. This has been our coverage of Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor 2022. And we will see you down the fucking road.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.